welcome back to another edition of The Morning You.
Another morning, another transfer link. This time it's Mark Guehi, because we all know what happened in the summer with his collapse move to Liverpool in the last minute. And we all know the situation at Palace where he's on a free in the summer. His contract is over. He won't be signing a new deal, and he's going to be able to move for free in the summer, which is obviously going to bring a whole host of teams that are needing him. Yes, Liverpool tried to get him all last year. Will they try and get him again? Probably so. However, Manchester United's name has been thrown into the hat by some journalists, saying that Man United are monitoring Mark Guehi on a free in the next summer transfer window. Absolutely, especially with limited progress being made with the likes of Harry Maguire's contract. So as of now, he hasn't signed a new one. If Maguire leaves, right, and his contract goes out, we play a back three, and Mark Guehi is available on a free transfer. We have to be there. I don't think we'll get him. I think his dream move to Liverpool. Konate still hasn't announced what he's doing. You know, the likeliness of us getting him is probably very low. Well, I say I think it's quite low. I think he'll go other places. But we have to be at the doorstep for Mark Guehi on a free when we play a back three. Martinez has had problems with injuries. We know you can't rely on Shaw. He's very experienced. He's captain of Palace. If everything goes back to plan, he starts playing again. He'll probably start in the World Cup. Conte might have something to say about that, but you get my drift. You don't turn your nose up at Mark Guehi on a free. He improves us dramatically, and it's not a big outlay. So for me, absolutely, you go and get him. And just before people get silly in the comments, so you'd get Mark Guehi instead of getting a midfielder? No, I wouldn't do that. No. So you'd get Mark Guehi and wouldn't get any wing backs? No, I wouldn't do that. I probably mean in addition to, because he's free. Yeah, you got to speak like that on the internet, because some people don't use context. Smash the like on the video, people. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I might look like I'm in a good mood, but I'm not.
Well, you might look like you're in a good mood after that last little bit of the intro. with those people on the internet, because they don't take context and blah blah blah. I might look like I'm in a good mood. Who said that?
Actually, yeah, true. You know what? I shoot because I think people see the best of me all the time. I've overshot the runway there. Yeah, I might look like I'm angry, because I am. I should have said that. But
firstly, you know what, Flex? Wait a minute. You're in a bad mood. If only there was something that could make you feel a bit better. Pick up spirits a little bit. Well, you could get optimized, I'll tell you that.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. Two of our own, OWEN, lost over 100 pounds in 10 months, and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds, and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds, and Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, unlike Jamaica last night, just results. You can scan the QR code right there on the sidebar. You can save up to 70% off. You can use the code UV. You can get your Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals. You can get your Optimum Night. He's distracted this morning.
I'm out of sync. For
those that think he's in a good mood. You can get your Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals. You get your Optimum Night, which is good for your restorative sleep, which is what Flex desperately needs. I need
this one now.
Yes, a brand new and improved formula. All the information, as always, in the video description below. Is pinned in the chat as well. You can get Optimized today. Flex, look, I feel like a lot of people want to hear your view. A lot of people want to hear how you're feeling. we had a quick debrief before we went live, just about, you did stay up and watch part of the game last night. You were like, look, last 48, 72 hours have been all over the place. It's been, doing things, going all of these different places. But at least, Steve McLaren's gonna do it for me. He's gonna do it for us all. And didn't happen, did it?
Pathetic, man. Pathetic. Like, Steve McLaren, man. You had to go. You knew he had to go. Someone said in the chat there he's still in the playoffs. It's not over. It's very difficult in the playoffs. I don't know who will play yet, but them playoffs are tough, man. They're really, really tough. You ain't gonna get a better opportunity to get to a World Cup than to beat the team. I think they're 80 odd in the world. In Curacao at home, bro. You need to get out, Steve. You need to get out. Now, listen,
National
we did
Stadium.
National Stadium packed out, everyone wearing yellow. Everything that's gone on in the country. Congratulations to Curacao, though. By the way, they're another tiny island, which is crazy. Big up to them. It's massive for them. So we give respect and congratulations to them. And Steve McLaren knew he had to get out of there fast, because you can't score, like Show says, home or away against Curacao. The first game away, they lost 2-0, but we should have won. Like, we had loads of chances. The hit was in the counter-attack. Keeper had a worldie, made loads of saves. And you go, right, it's one of them, innit? That shouldn't happen, but we get them back to our place. That should be it. The team selection, when I look at the team selection and the players that started, like, there's a lot of experienced players in there. Do you know what I'm saying? Bobby Decordova-Reid, Premier League experience. He's playing in the 10. Damari Gray was off the right-hand side. He's back at Birmingham City now, but Premier League experience. Ethan Pinnock, don't get me wrong, he's not starting for Brentford game in, game out like he used to under Thomas Frank. He's getting a bit older now, but Premier League experience. Isaac Hayden, he spent like 4 or 5 seasons, in the Premier League with Newcastle United. These are experienced players. Now, I know it's not as easy as just that. Mason Holgate, I don't think he played. He didn't come on, but he's in the squad. Yeah, he's on the bench.
Experience. Yeah.
Premier League experience, and then there's like championship guys that know their way around things, He didn't come on as well, but Rico Henry's at Brentford. Could he have Casey Palmer was injured, to be fair, but could he have used what he's got? Damien Lowe, very experienced, has been played in England. There's enough there. Obviously, Whisper Richards, a young kid from Chelsea. Could he have done it a bit differently? But look, I take some people's point. We did hit the post 3 times. Cadamartri hit the post late on, should have scored. Decordova-Reid first half should have scored. Who else should have scored? There was another chance. It was it Richards? Nicholson, sorry. He had a chance, kind of shanked it first half. So there was chances there. So the players have to look at themselves as well. But overall, Steve McLaren, not good enough, mate. So see you later. We pray, we hope and pray in March, and we see what's going on. On the flip side, because I am quarter Scottish as well, from my nan. God rest her soul, Nanny Helen. Big up to my nan. Yeah. I am quarter Scottish. Yeah, so I always got a little soft spot for Scotland because my nan's Scottish. Yeah, like they're through. Do you know what I'm saying? And in great fashion. I watched that game. Scott McTominay, after 3 minutes, overhead kick, bro. Limbs. And then after that, it was all Denmark. I ain't going to lie.
There's a lot of United influence on that game, wasn't there? McTominay scores. Was it Højlund scores? Dorgu scores. Even Patrick Dorgu scoring goals as well. And like you said, absolute limbs. Absolute limbs. It was...
Got it to 2-1 from corner after, and then Dorgu straight up the other side, because then they thought, right, we're 10 minutes away from going World Cup. Dorgu scores 2-2. And then Kieran Tierney off the bench. Kieran Tierney. Yeah, off the bench, you go and wraps it out the post in bottom corner, right past Schmeichel, and then the goal at the end from the halfway line. Just seeing the limbs of when the next day you see all the limbs from the commentary on the radio, different, and it's just gives you goosebumps, man. So yeah,
we got you excited for the World Cup, doesn't it?
It gets you excited. It does. And I saw Andy Robertson talking afterwards.
Asher.
Oh, Asher. It's such a polite ring as well. It's so rude. It's so rude. The dog's just got the dog's just got the bell to say, "Let me out. I want to go." But then it just takes the piss out of Owen when you don't really want to go toilet, and just and it's such a polite bell. It sounds like the residents of like the Banks in Fresh Prince. It sounds like that house in Bel Air. You know what I mean? It's such a polite ring, and Owen's just got to, get pulled from pillar to post. But yeah, anyway, big up Scotland and big up Robertson, man. Saw him talking after the game about what it meant to how he was in a bad place basically in the way to this game. Obviously, his good friend Diogo Jota, we all know what happened tragically in the summer. He was saying that Jota missed the Qatar World Cup through injury. He missed it because they didn't make it. And they always
turned it off.
What this? Turned it off. He's turned it off. Good.
I've turned it off. You're taking the piss. You're taking the piss, Asher. Yeah, you're taking
Asher,
the piss.
Mate. Nah, you can't just be calling Owen like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, got a show to do. We got important business. We got things to talk about. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Actually taking the piss, man.
But
yes,
literally,
it was good. Yeah, exactly. It was good. It was, well, I'll say good, but it was quite heartwarming, heartbreaking at the same time to see Robson speak like that about his friend and what he'd been going through in the lead up to that game. That's taken. I thought you turned it off.
I thought I did.
Nah.
I'm taking it off the ground.
See? Owen, mate, getting taken for a ride. So big up to Scotland and big up to Laurie Whitwell. Yeah, he was in Jamaica for the game. I was talking to him, send him some places to go, but he was obviously in Kingston. I'll send him some stuff that was way over the other side. And obviously with the hurricane, some things aren't back on their feet yet, but Laurie, see his pictures out, he's patty. You know what I mean? He was doing his thing, covering it for the Athletics. So I had a good chat with him in DMs. And he said the vibe out there was amazing, which it always is. So yes, super chat straight away. Aminor says, congrats to Scott McTominay and Scotland. What a effing goal. Unbelievable from Scott McTominay. Brilliant. All Elite says, Scott McTominay, that is all. And Aminor says, you do know Jamaica are not out of the World Cup yet. I do know that. But I've seen the team. I mean, we'll see who the new manager is. But I just the know-how. You know what I mean? I don't even know who we're going to be playing in that.
You never know. Could be even more dramatic. Could be an even bigger, greater story. You never know. Flex. You just got to believe. You got to believe.
You got to believe. But what's going on this morning? Because this Mark Guehi thing is very interesting.
This was interesting because I think the general consensus was when this deal sort of collapsed with him to go to Liverpool that he'd probably end up going there just on a free in the sort of summer. But maybe not. According to Nathan Salt yesterday from the Mail, saying that Manchester United are expected to monitor Mark Guehi's situation closely as his contract enters its final 6 months. A centre-back seemingly is on the agenda. Why? Because there has been what is being described by Nathan Salt as limited progress on extending Harry Maguire's deal, which also expires in the summer. Of course, we triggered the option on his deal earlier this year, didn't we? Or last year, whatever it was, last season. Yep. But as of right now, he's not put pen to paper on a new deal or anything like that. The expectation would be if Maguire was to stay, it would be, certainly a salary cut and what would his role in the team look like, etc., etc., etc. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? The Mark Guehi. First of all, I'm a bit like you. I just don't know if I see us getting Mark Guehi next summer, to be honest with you.
I don't see it.
But there are some things which you go, I suppose it kind of makes sense that, used to playing in a back three, so he could fit straight in. I don't know if it'd be like for like when it comes to Harry Maguire in the sense of, Mark Guehi's going to come in to be a bit of a backup option or a rotational option. Look, if Mark Guehi comes into Manchester United, he's starting, one would think. But if he's starting regularly, where does he fit in that sort of back three where you go, okay, De Ligt's the sort of centre back. He's not missed a single minute this season, has he? He's been uber consistent. That right-sided centre back, more often than not, it's Lenny Yoro. It's only not when Amorim wants a little bit of extra height, seemingly, for set pieces, which is when De Ligt goes to
certain games. He's just working out when to trust and when to not, in it. Yeah.
exactly. And then obviously Mark Guehi's not going to come in, you think, and be left centre back. So it's a bit, once again, a bit like the Semenyo one where you go, of course, you'd love to have him at Manchester United. No doubt about that. But where does that actually, how does that work? Where would he actually sort of fit
Mark Guehi?
into that back three? Yeah.
Well, like you say, you paint the picture that looks like one of Harry Maguire leaving, or even if he doesn't, you bring him in on a free. You got Harry Maguire in the back. That's very experienced, etc. But you'd have to understand not going to play much games. Leach is coming back, and you have to decide what you're doing with Leacher / Luke Shaw. Do you just want a big bunch of options because hopefully we're and worry about it afterwards because you want a bigger squad and you can't turn down, talk about market opportunities. You can't afford not to be at the door for someone like Mark Guehi on a free transfer. Yes, big wages. I get that. Nothing's really free, but in today's world, no such thing. But what Mark Guehi would cost, which is what we've seen from previous windows, Newcastle United put in 4 bids 2 years ago for £75 million. I think it was. I covered it last time.
Yeah,
they said no to every single one. Then he didn't go last summer and was very close to with a year left on his deal at like 35 mil, 40, I think it was, something like that. And now he's going to go on a free. So it's a great opportunity to get someone like him. But Shaw, I mean, someone said that MA says sell Shaw in the summer. Selling Shaw always just feels weird, isn't it? It's like, it always feels like who would invest into him. Like he's just going to go on a free, innit? He's just not going to. So you lose one in Harry Maguire. Do you just go right? That's you just bring in Guehi. In terms of starting, who's the best out of Guehi, Shaw, and Lissandro? Well, I think defensively, Guehi is sound. Shaw's sound as well. I think when Leach is the best version of himself, he's defensively all right, but obviously the obvious bits of the height and the bit of physicality. But I think Guehi's probably the most assured, where you just know he's going to look after himself defensively. On the ball, the best is Leacher. And sort of in between that, Luke Shaw's probably the one where he's having a great season now, but you wouldn't bet on him doing it again. So, and like I said there, Jamie said Leach has had 2 big injuries now. He's had 2 big injuries. So you don't really know what he's going to be like. Guehi's been playing. I know he's injured at a minute, but he's been playing consistently for the last however many years. So
I was just looking at his injury history, Mark Guehi. I mean, it's very, very good. I mean, he had a knee issue in the 23-24 season where he missed 15 games. Aside from that, he's missed 2 games in this season. And then before that, he missed 3 games in the 2021 season. That's the only injuries he's got on record throughout his entire career. He's 25 years old. So, his injury record is very, very good. He's right-footed, but, comfortable both feet. So I suppose could play left-sided centre-back. You do get the impression, though, that probably Ruben would want someone that is a natural left-footed player at left centre-back. You want that little bit of balance. And I suppose it depends. We kind of forget this with the wide centre-backs in particular. It's about what Amorim wants out of those wide centre-backs. We shouldn't necessarily think of them as your traditional centre-backs, you know what I mean? Because they're expected to do a bit more than that, aren't they? That's why Ruben makes those substitutions every game. He takes off at least one, or if not both, of the wide centre-backs in almost every game, because he wants them to be stepping forward. He wants them to be creative just as much as he wants them to be defensive as well. Which, look, Mark Guehi can do. I think he's a really talented player. But again, I just don't know. I'm not sure. I think, like the article says from Nathan Salt there, I think United would monitor it in the sense of, well, let's see what happens. Maybe we can step in there and we'll see what happens. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I
don't see it.
Maybe, look, I don't know if it's as nailed on that he goes to Liverpool as it felt like it was last summer, because you never know what can happen at the end of the season, right? With Liverpool being a bit indifferent this campaign, maybe another team's a little bit more attractive. You never know. Maybe something happens at like Arsenal, and Arsenal go, "Hey, we'll take Mark Guehi on a free."
Because when it's a free, everything changes, isn't it?
Yeah, you never. Maybe someone from abroad comes in. Maybe
Real Madrid might come. Maybe Konate
Real
doesn't go and
Madrid.
signs a new deal, and he goes to Real Madrid.
Yeah, or Barcelona go, fine, yeah, we'll take him because, and also with the World Cup on the horizon, yeah, he is laughing, yeah, because if
Oh, he's got
England
so
do
much
really
options.
well, if England do really well in the World Cup, which the hope would be that they do, and he's involved in that. Every club across Europe will be looking at him going on a free. We'll take him on a free. You know, as Leo says, Bayern Munich. He can pretty much write wherever he wants to go if things go his way. So even though he's probably frustrated that Liverpool deal fell apart, it might have even been the best thing for him because his options are completely wide open. And that's not even to put down Manchester United in this respect, but his best option just might not be Man United, just in terms of, not even in terms of, oh, Man United, they're crap or whatever, just like actually, you know, for my role in the team and, you know, what's
available
expected
to
of me,
me,
etc. Yeah, it might just be that there are so many options there, and there might be some better options there for him. So I think United monitor it in the same way that we monitor anyone that's contract's expiring. But I don't know if I see it.
What do we think about like the construct of the squad? Like, because obviously, you know, the Semenyo thing is like, no, we shouldn't get it. Some people in the comments were like, no, don't get him. We need midfielders and that. And I'm joking around, but my point is that there's not things that I think we should exclusively be doing instead of other things. We have to get midfielders, and I just think it's clear now by this point that we obviously are going to get some. Like, that's the next area. Obviously, when you hear different things of like maybe a left wing back, a centre back, it's people are getting a bit scared sometimes. Like, yeah, but what about Elliot Anderson? What about Baleba? We have to remember we can focus on multiple deals. We don't only need to fix midfield next year. We need to keep improving in all areas. We need another striker. What's going to happen? You can't just have Benjamin Sesko out there on an island and keep playing Cunha as an auxiliary 9. That's not the plan. You need another guy who can come in, someone young, someone ready, someone older, whatever it is. You need other centre-backs where the quality is there. So when Leach is injured and Luke Shaw maybe not at it, and you've got to move on from these guys. Remember I was saying about that bit of like, what's the next phase of being ruthless and saying, right, you've had your 3 years here. You've got to go. And not even 3 years. People like, you know, Luke Shaw, Dalot, Maguire, you know, Casemiro's playing really well, but with what's going on with his contract, he's involved in that. So that's 5 players, which a lot of them start a lot of games for Man United. A lot. You know, Mazraoui, good squad player, just to fill in here. And so as long as you're buying better players than him, you can keep him there for some injuries in a 50-game season and stuff, fill in here for a game, fill in there, Carabao Cup. But really, how do you make sure that you have better quality than that so he rarely gets used? You know, just the levels. Second goalkeeper, right, by Altai and Onana. Clearly, you both need to go. You know, maybe you keep Altai as a second, but let's be honest, if we got an injury to Lamans tomorrow, we'll be back to shitting ourselves. How do you address that?
Shout out to him. He made his official debut for Belgium last night. Kept a clean sheet, 7-0.
When he plays, he doesn't lose. Yeah, I think he's Liechtenstein. But when he plays, he doesn't lose. Home, country, club or country, mate. I don't lose, mate.
Yeah.
So, you know, make up your mind whether you want to start me. But, you know, you've got a better chance with me than without. So.
Haven't lost a game this season, me. Yeah. So, you know, we're in November.
That's his 6th game he's played this year.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Safe pair of hands, you know. That's what he does. Safe pair of hands.
Never tasted defeat in this country, mate. Well, that was technically in Belgium, but
easy. But speaking of that, you mentioned about the squad makeup there, and maybe about what the expectation would be for January. This was also quite interesting, once again, coming from Nathan Salt, because we still don't really know what's going to happen in this sort of January window. And he kind of poured a bit of cold water on this. He said that senior figures at United do not believe Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba are going to happen in the winter. You know, the idea of us sort of testing the resolve of Forest or Palace or Brighton in January is very unlikely. But a more low-cost option like João Gomez could not and should not be ruled out. So what do you think about this when it comes to this sort of, as we get closer to the winter window opening up? And we're a bit uncertain because obviously historically We don't do anything in the winter window. We're always like, oh, there's no value in the winter market, which is usually just a bit of a spin. Or we don't have money. We don't have money to spend. If we do sign someone, it's, you know, so it's a Dorgu, it's a 20 million, 25 million, something like that. But with that, it's kind of like, well, yes, United aren't going to go and spend what could be close to 100 million quid, because that's what's being quoted for those kind of midfielders, isn't it? Elliot Anderson could be close to that, or Carlos Baleba. That's what was quoted. I mean, I don't think United would pay that in the summer, but, you know, Adam Wharton, similar. You know, he's going to be high cost transfers. So don't expect that, but they could get Gomez. And you go, well, that's not going to be cheap, though, is it? You know what I mean? It's not going to be cheap. It's going to be, you know, less expensive than getting those other names that we mentioned, but still, it's going to be a bit of an investment. So what does that necessarily look like? What do you think that looks like? Do you think we would go and get, you know, someone like him in January?
Like a João Gomez.
Yeah.
I think because you can clearly see the type of surgery we want to do to the team, it's going to come at big prices, big outlays. So that's why we all obviously are not surprised to hear that we ain't getting Anderson or Guehi, Anderson or, well, probably Guehi as well, but Anderson, Baleba or Wharton in January. It ain't going to happen. Those type of moves are for the summer. World Cup's coming. These players have got a lot of value. They've got years left on their contract. They're young. The clubs would be stupid to sell them. None of the clubs, I know, listen, Forest are in a relegation battle as it stands, but they're going to be fine. So you don't sell Elliot Anderson now. First time back in Europe, no chance. Same with Adam Wharton, won the FA Cup. They're in Europe for the first time ever in their history, I believe.
It can derail your season if you got
100%. I mean, the Brighton one you'd think is a bit different, maybe, because it's Brighton. They got optimum ways of selling players, but again, January, it's just. But they blocked Caicedo going in January. That was the whole point.
Yeah, they waited to the summer. Yeah,
they said absolutely not. You ain't going anywhere. So we're not getting any of them, nor do I expect it to. So leave those three aside. But the other players are interesting. I mean, look, Rob Edwards has just got to Wolves. He's going to need help. He's going to need a good window in January. João Gomez is their best midfielder that they currently have, in my opinion. You don't sell him, but if they're looking for the future and the money is right.
Yeah, funds.
You know, funds to fund. If they could sell him to fund other positions, then someone like that could look at it. So maybe someone like him. I think the Conor Gallagher situation is interesting because there was interest in the summer. He's not starting games. It's something that you could probably do a loan with an option or a loan just to the end of the season. It could look quite short term just to get him in. So I think those like low cost / what we've heard the term in it, opportunistic signings or market opportunities. Sorry. If there's something that could be done, and this Cobby thing won't go away. I know we want him to stay, but you just never know. What if they go? I tell you what, Cobby's just won't stop. But we can give Amorim Conor Gallagher, which in some people's head is blasphemy because you're telling me you're giving me Conor Gallagher just right. Exactly. A lot of people don't want it, but we have to think of what the manager probably would like. I'm not using Cobby right now. He would probably use someone like Conor Gallagher in his system, in his principles, I think, more than someone like Cobby. So maybe there's like a straight swap, no option. They both just go opposite ways. Something like that could happen.
Yeah, well, when Ollie mentions it here, and I think this is the interesting point with it, he says you only go for Gomez if he's genuinely on the shortlist. You can't mess around with the central midfielders. And I think that is a good point in the sense that you have to be careful that let's say we do get Gomez and he comes in and does well. You then don't want to have them to use that as an excuse to not get another midfielder in the summer. Do you know what I mean? Well, actually, we got João Gomez in January, so maybe we don't get a midfielder. Go, no. Like, that's cool, bring him in, but we still need that Elliot Anderson. We still need that Baleba. You know what I mean? We still that big marquee, big name that is going to be expensive. We still need that kind of irrespective of what happens in the winter window for me. Because like you said, when you're thinking about the long-term future and how you're going to progress this team, like you said, major surgery is needed on that midfield. So you can go and get not a stopgap signing, but you can go and get someone that can add to it and improve. And as I've said, I think there is a bit of pressure on Ineos when it gets to January, because regardless of whether you doubt Ruben, you back him, you're Ruben in, you're Ruben out, traitor, faithful, whatever that bullshit is, we find ourselves in the race to actually get European football this season. And the difference between us making, say, Champions League and not making Champions League could be whether we're active in the January market. That could be the thing that gets us over the line. We've seen it. Bruno Fernandes came in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first full season. That was the catalyst, plus a global pandemic, for us getting into the Champions League. But it made a massive difference. So, when it comes to that, I do think there is a bit of pressure on Ineos of like, okay, how badly do you want it? How badly do you want that Champions League football? Because you can go and get it. You can go and get that Champions League if you do bring the right person in the winter window. So I think there'll be a bit of pressure on there, but it has to be right. It has to be right, and it can't also distract from the long-term vision, which is to bring in that like marquee player that's really going to make a difference. But I then also say, as I've said a lot with Man United and transfers over the last sort of year, 18 months, is Ineos do keep the cards very close to the vest/chest about all of this, because no one knows. No one really knows anything with transfers until David Ornstein comes out and just goes, Brian Mbeumo said he wants to go to Manchester United, and that's where he's going. And everyone goes, "Oh, right."
Which is good.
I guess we're getting Brian Mbeumo. So
I know it took 8 weeks, but it was good.
Yeah. No one really knows. So I think that's why I'm really, really curious about January and what that's going to look like, because I do think we're going to be maybe more active than we usually are. I don't know if it's going to be like, we just go get a Dorgu-esque player. Maybe it's a little bit more, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, we gotta be open to it, and we can't lose our shit. So because what we have to understand is that what we've just said is we can't get the main targets now. So if you do get someone now, don't just assume that it's instead of Elliot. Now we're not going to do this, and now we're
that's what I mean.
It's like the order of ceremonies. I remember when Arsenal fans were losing their shit in the summer because the way round they did stuff was they got people like Norgard, Kepa, and Madueke first, and it was like, where's our strike? Why haven't we got Sesko or Gyökeres? What's going on? You know what I mean? And we need Eze. Where's he? Why are we not this, that, and the other? That they just lost their minds. They got so angry, and then by the time the window closed, they went, bloody hell, got a Mosquera kid, Hincapié. We got the backup goalkeeper. We got we got an Norgard. He's a replacement for Jorginho, Premier League captain in Brentford. That works. 10 million. Then we got the big uns. Well, we're not happy about Madueke, 50 million. Can't believe that. However, you bought me Eze. However, you bought me Gyökeres. So, and then Madueke started like house on fire. So, I just think that we need to be calm until the summer window shuts. That way, you take into account both these two windows coming up, January and the summer. That's where you go, they've done really well over the last two windows, or whatever it was. Or you go, can't believe it. 2 windows, and Zubimendi, 2 windows passed, and we still haven't got a real nailed-on centre midfielder for the next 5 years. We still haven't got this. We still haven't got that. That's different. But we have to be careful, of course, but we can only go off what the last window is and what it's looking like and it's feeling like. For me personally, I feel like they're going to make the right decisions, or they're going after the right things. They really do want to kick this squad on. And then there's that unanswered bit, like I said, about how ruthless are you about moving on players that maybe aren't necessarily the worst ever. Some may say they are, like when it gets to Dallo and stuff like that, they really like just go. But Luke Shaw, people had their, but what are you going to be like with players like that when it's time to move on and get the new wave?
This is when it gets interesting, because one of those names would be Joshua Zirkzee, right? Is he going to go in January? Do you let him go and maybe fund a transfer? Well, interestingly, once again from Nathan Salt, he says that some of those close to Joshua Zirkzee now feel a crucial opportunity is opening up for him to make a case for more regular game time. Of course, this is because Benjamin Šeško is out with an injury. He's set to miss, obviously, the game against Everton on Monday. However, according to Rob Dawson, he is expected to return from injury before the start of the Christmas fixture list. So that's probably saying what? He's going to be back about what, December, early December, maybe? Is that sort of
He's not going to be
suggestion?
out super long, is he?
Early December time. But then if that is the case, if it's saying he's not going to be out too long, sort of beginning of December, this crucial opportunity opening up for Zirkzee, how long is that even going to be? I mean, we're talking what, a couple of weeks? A couple of weeks. You've got your opportunity, and as we spoke about, I think yesterday. Does anyone, and it'd be interesting to see what you guys are saying in the chat about this, but does anyone think he's going to be getting what you described yesterday, Flex's real minutes against Everton? You know what I mean? Is he going to be getting those real minutes against Everton? He's not going to start at Old Trafford. I'd be really surprised if he starts against Everton on Monday. So, what are these crucial opportunities that are opening up? What are we thinking?
Owen, you're asking the wrong guy, mate. Because I don't know. I don't know what these crucial opportunities will be because I don't believe they exist. I've already said I don't think our manager rates this player. That's obviously into the trust, in whichever word you want to use. He's not having him.
It's really sticking in your craw, isn't it? That thing on
just
Friday,
a little bit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I reflected on that over the weekend. I did reflect on that over the weekend actually. But maybe I was a little bit Jurgen Fleck because I thought they're taking a piss. I thought they were taking the piss. Because listen, the Trinity is the Trinity, right? And the purpose of the Trinity is to get after people. That's what we do. When all three of us are together, especially with Owen as a puppet master, you're going to get, well, KG, I mean, Flex is basically insinuating that you're that you're not a real fan there, mate. You wanted us to lose a little couple. Owen will do that. But then
people wonder why it's the Oreo layout. Yeah, people wonder why it's that. Yeah, and do you know why? Because I'm in the middle and I've got to play both sides. You know what I mean?
But then after
I do it to KG, I do it to Flex.
Yeah, but after that, you weren't playing both sides. You were on KG's side, ganging up on me, and I thought about it.
On that day, I was. Another episode.
And I was like, these two.
I'm an equal opportunity gaslighter.
That is true. That is true. You don't discriminate with the gaslighting. That is true. I was like, these guys, they're arguing over the word, but they know what I mean. This guy is, the manager's not having him. Yeah, you can dress it up all fancy and all sentimental and all this stuff, all nice. Oh yeah, don't use the word don't rate because that's just a little bit harsh. Maybe say he doesn't trust him. Okay, he doesn't trust him. And guess what? He's not. I was thinking, I got off there, and you're lucky because I was at Talksport.
Okay.
I was at Talksport and I went straight into another thing. So I was outside. Man, what's the next day? I was like, they were saying the same thing I was saying, just using a different word. So guess what? Here's how this is gonna play out. Open to new evidence, by the way, in football terms. Yeah.
Yes.
That trust that you lot are talking about, it ain't gonna go up much in the next 3 games before he's back, before Sesko's back in early December. So all this trust that, you know, he is the opposite to he doesn't rate him, whichever one it is, it ain't improving over the next 3 weeks. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
no, I would agree with the sense that, like, when I see that report saying, oh, you know, crucial opportunities are opening up, it's a very limited opportunity, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Extremely.
I mean, you're going to have to really kick that door down. That I don't know if Zirkzee really can. You know, I think last season certainly he trusted him more than Højlund. There's no doubt about that because
yes, he did. Out of what we had, definitely.
We forget that Zirkzee, he got injured towards the end of last season, didn't he? Did the hamstring injury in one of the Europa League games, didn't he? And we were sort of gutted because Højlund was so far off at that point. We were like, oh shit, Højlund's got to get back in the team now. And as the evidence of how little Amorim trusted Højlund is the fact he's not here anymore, and Zirkzee is, right? So you sort of go, well, that kind of shows it. But it's still
is he not there just because
there?
You got to look at it like, is he also here because when you look at what it looked like getting another striker in, him going out with us in vet, that's a different thing. You know, you can't do too much in one window, can you?
This is what I was just about to say. I mean, as we always say, it's not necessarily a wrong decision to let a player go. The critical thing is, who do you replace them with? And I think that is where this Zirkzee situation is at. It's not necessarily that Ruben Amorim or Manchester United would be against letting Joshua Zirkzee go in January or in the summer or what have you. It's particularly in January. It's okay. If we were to let him go, who would we bring in to replace him? Who's better out there that we can get in January for a decent amount of money than what we've got? And I think the options are a bit limited there. I think they're a bit like, I don't, could we do that? And particularly when you've maybe got some other pressing ones, like we're sort of saying, could you get a low-cost midfielder? Can you go find a wing back? You know, and actually, you bring up the point earlier on, and I do think it's quite true. The sort of winter window, you can bring in those sort of players that can make a massive difference and a big impact. But if we're sort of saying, well, they're kind of off the cards, we're not going to spend that big, then really your winter window is about, can you bring in those players that improve your sort of backups in the team? Ruben Amorim feels at the moment very, very much looking towards his bench going, don't really like the options I've got there. I don't really want to make some of those subs. I'm not really happy with some of those subs. So if he could get a couple of players that he's a bit more confident turning to his bench going, all right, I can bring that player on. I'm happy to bring that player on. He can make a difference, or he can do what I'm asking him to do, and we don't lose control of the game. That's why I think, like you say, Conor Gallagher keeps getting brought up, because you can see him being a Ruben Amorim substitution, or maybe some games he starts, bring on the same way like he brings on Mason Mount. He goes, I don't have to worry about him. He's going to come on. He's going to do what I want him to do. Conor Gallagher would be the same. I think maybe that's where this sort of window might be looking at, where he sort of goes, all right, I need some more players that I can bring in trust. I want to improve my bench a little bit. And with Zirkzee, I think it's just going to be a case of, well, who would I replace him with? Who could we replace him with? Who could we get in cheaper, better? And it might not be there. So I agree with you. I'm not necessarily sure I see these sort of crucial opportunities opening up, but I still don't know if I see him going. I'm a bit, I'm not sure. Because if he goes, you've got to replace him, because we need, obviously, we still need a squad, even though we're playing one game a week. We still need options. And I just don't know who that would necessarily be. I'm not sure, but long term, he's not going to stick at United, is he? I think he'd probably be gone in the within the next 2 windows. I think he'll probably be gone, Zirkzee.
I think so. They're just looking for the right time to make sure that when he goes, like you said, they can back it up with another player, etc. Big up to Elite Sports TV. Was locked into your stream yesterday, bro. Heartbreak for the nation. Trust me, heartbreak, brother. But March, innit? Roll on March. Look, everyone. Look, Joe as well. Up to 4 a.m. Elite Sports sleep 5 a.m. Like, just it's mad. It's mad.
Well, here's a stat for you. The TNT just posted this flex. Curacao are the smallest ever country to qualify for the World Cup. The nation of just over 150,000 people have surpassed Iceland as the lowest populated country to ever make it to the finals.
Crazy. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Like, that's why, listen, massive congratulations.
Huge achievement.
Massive.
Huge achievement.
Oh, you're record breakers. You're history makers. You know what I'm saying? You just not only is it the first time you've obviously gone to the World Cup finals, but it's you're the smallest country to ever do it. So the resources that they have as a nation, as a footballing nation,
it's massive.
There you go. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So big up to them. They deserve every little bit.
But then, like you said, it's one of those ones where you go like Jamaica. They do have like Premier League players, Championship players in there. You got to be doing better than that. You got to be beating them. You got to find a way. We played them twice. We didn't score. Like with Barcelona, the new camps opening up soon. I think they're backing it this weekend, limited capacity. But once that's up and running, that's got like nearly all of their population
inside the stadium. Bro.
You know what I mean? That's mad. But like I said, fantastic story. But you never know. Maybe Jamaica, they still could make it. Question is, who comes in for that like playoff match? Right? Who could it even be?
That's what I haven't looked at yet about where's the next batch? Like I don't know who we could, because I think there's still other games, or actually, no, because it's the seeding, and I need to see now, because those games are finished until March now. I don't think there's any more games, so we should know who we got. But I was so angry, I just turned it off. I didn't even look.
And if they do get to World Cup, that's what only the second time Jamaica would have made it
in their history, and first time since '98. Yeah, second time in history. Yeah, which would be great. Southgate, get Southgate out of there, man.
Could you imagine?
Oh, he'd never take that job. But yeah, that'd be good.
Here we go. Meanwhile, Jamaica finished second in Group B on 11 points. Will have one final bite at the cherry where they compete in the Interconfederation playoff next March. Bolivia is one of the teams who the Reggae Boys could face after they secured their place by finishing 7th in the South American qualifiers. The other teams include Iraq, New Caledonia, and DR Congo.
Oh, Wan-Bissaka. Right, okay. So we're in the same thing as them. Right, okay.
The draw for the Intercontinental Playoffs will take place on Thursday at 7 a.m. Jamaica time.
Right.
In the meantime, the seedings for the draw for the playoffs will be based on the November 2025 FIFA rankings, which will be released later today.
Right. So there you go. So it's out of them teams, and we'll find out who we play in the semi
tomorrow,
and then the final.
You'll find out tomorrow.
Out of them teams, Iraq, DR, the other team you said.
They still got a good chance then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got to keep the faith. I think emotionally, we've just got to lock in. We'll lock in like February. We'll start January, February, we'll start turning out. Now it's just too painful because it's like 0-0 at home. 0-0. Penalty last minute. Refs give it. VAR's gone, you've made a mistake here. Guy's got the ball. No pen. Like, Cadamarchi hit the post. Like, it's anyway.
So it could be you versus Joel.
Yeah, exactly. Which would be a turn up. I don't know, man. DR never right. Don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. But the international break is over. Someone said, I saw it on X, and it's like great that we haven't got any injuries or nothing like that. Everyone's just back.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know about the Sesko situation, but apart from that, we're all good to go. I can't wait to get this run of games going because I know it's like the cliche because we said this in the last 5. This will tell us if we are doing all right. But the truth is that every single game tells you. You know, and you need more games to happen. And like I say, you get further away from the point of losing or bad performances, and you can get more into a good run. But you know, Everton at home to be like 6 unbeaten.
This is where it starts.
Come on,
this
guys. You can do that. And I don't want to be
easiest
defeatist,
fixtures in the Prem. Easiest fixtures where it starts. This is where it begins.
But like you said, I mean, we're talking about, okay, forget just the batch of 5 we go, that's the easiest thing on paper, whatever. Just like the feeling of ticking off one by one and the confidence it brings. So, yes, it was 2 points dropped against Spurs in the end and we were angry. But like, Stuart Pearce was right when he said it to me. He's like, trust me. And that's where you have to listen to the guys that have been there and done it. He goes, both managers tomorrow in the training ground will just take a sigh of relief and they'll take the point and they'll go, right, international break, we move. Because again, you beat Everton or whoever Spurs got on, they got Arsenal, they ain't beating them. But, you know, you take it from there and then it gets not forgotten about. I know there's the odd, if we'd have beaten Spurs and Forest would have been seconds. Like, so annoying. But you just build in your new reality of whatever it is. You can only, you know what I mean, in the current. And I just think if we have like a Brighton type performance without the nerves, you know, that came after 3-0, but good, strong performance, Cunha at it and Bumo at it, you know, whatever, Bruno, just whoever, Ahmad, great. If we have that and win comfortably, that feeling just comes back. And
Sunderland. You know,
Sunderland,
you know what I mean?
clean sheet. I'd love a clean sheet. I would love a clean sheet, you know. I would take a Sunderland. I'd love a clean sheet. And then you take that into Palace the following week and you go, I know it's a bit defeatist, but you go, guys, keep the unbeaten run going. Get a draw out of this. I'm not mad.
Of course.
I'm not mad.
Well, again, we need to get out of that mindset of like, we are not going to win every game. You know what I mean? So when there are these dips, and again, I'm talking to myself here as well. When there are these dips, when we either lose a game or we draw a game, like as we have seen this season, it isn't the end of the world. The table as it is right now, after this match week, it's going to look radically different. It is so tight. It is so tight. As you mentioned, Spurs are playing Arsenal. They'll probably lose that game.
What is going on in the league, actually?
Spurs are currently 5th. By the end of this weekend, they might be like 11th or 12th. You know what I mean? They could be. Like that is how tight the table is at the moment, right? So I think we do have to sort of take it game by game, but also I'll keep saying it, not getting too high, not getting too low. Just like it is, just be steady. So hopefully beat Everton on Monday. Then if we go play Palace at Selhurst Park, where we've struggled in recent years, if we go there and it's a draw, that's still a really good result. I think, look, even if we lose, it ain't the end of the world,
It's not
because
the end of the world.
we've still got really, good fixtures coming up. So I think it's one of those ones where, yes, on paper they say about those easiest fixtures, but there will be ups and downs. As we have just said, we go into these next couple of transfer windows, the winter one and the summer one, knowing we've got a lot of work to do, because we're still not an amazing team. We're better than we were last season. Regardless of what Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank says, there have been improvements. But on our day, we've seen it. We're collapsing still a lot recently, and I think despite the resilience that we have shown, inevitably there will come a day where we don't show that resilience and we do collapse and we lose the game. It is what it is.
You couldn't get back into it, or you couldn't get the last minute winner or equaliser. So
it is what it is. But as we have seen this season, with all the ups and downs we've already had, there will be more to come. But we're still in a good spot. We're still in an okay position. The league is very, very tight at the moment. And I think the real thing now is that if we can continue to string together a couple of results, that is when we said it before. If we can get those run of results together, inevitably, when the dip does come, you can still be in a good position. Liverpool is a good example of this, because they had a good start to the season and then lost 4 or 5 games in a row. But they're still, where are they in the league at the moment? They're below us, but they're on 18 points. You know what I mean? They're still in and around it, because
exactly, and they'll probably beat Forest as well.
If you can get a good run of wins together, then inevitably when you do drop off, you can still be in and around it. And myself personally, at the start of the season, that's all that I wanted, was just to be like, right, when you get into Christmas or when you get into April, May, if you can still be in and around it, get yourself in a position to qualify for Europe, then going from 15th, that is absolutely that's progress. So I think that there's lots of positives, and one thing, I know it's difficult, because you might not have seen it because you were inside the stadium, Flex, but when we went 2-1 down against Spurs, it got toxic very, very quick.
I was toxic. I was
very fast.
Yeah, I wasn't. Obviously, I'm in the stadium. I'm on the radio. I wasn't like, fucking, this is why I was right about Amorim. No, it was just that. It was all vented to the guys on the pitch. Just what the fuck. I've got Reshman next to me going crazy and calm. She's like, oh yeah. I'm in the Spurs stadium, so I'm turning around. There's limbs everywhere. It was horrible, horrible. And I just felt. I think I was tweeting out of rage at the time. In fact, let me go. I think I was, because I had my laptop in front of me. I don't normally tweet during games because I'm just involved in what's going on. But what was going on?
Well, if you get if you go back to like the match feed during that game, the chat. I mean, hey, I know some people in the chat that probably wouldn't want to go and have a look back at that chat from when we went 2-1 down, because there was a lot of point scoring of, this is why Ruben's not going to work out. This player. A couple minutes later, you score, and it's like,
this is,
and
yeah, that's exactly. You have to expect these things, but this is my timeline. Mbumo signing off the summer, so that was at halftime, and someone said, should have waited till after the match to tweet, bro. I said, not dependent on result, he just is. Right, that's at halftime. Then at halftime, I also tweeted, we were on top at Forest last week. Then 90-second madness kicked in. Lock in, boys. Game management key. Next tweet. Not a great second half so far. Glad Ruben has responded. We need more from Cunha too. Then people in that was like, we need more. It needs to come off. That goal was coming for F's sake. Second half, crap again. Now Sesko injured and no subs left. Then, all in capitals, pathetic second half, disgrace letting Spurs do this to us again for F's sake. Then the next tweet was, thank F for that. And then I said, brilliant to get a point mentality-wise in the end. And a point probably fair. Second half was shocking from us. So yeah, I went through the different things. But it wasn't like, fucking hammer, this, that, and the other. But when that, Richarlison acting like he'd scored a worldie, running off after he'd been in Delit's pocket it just made me feel sick. And then, as that corner came in, I didn't even have a hope it would go in. I was just like, I can't believe it. I was just sitting there like that going, I can't believe we've let them do it. I can't believe it. And then that went in, and then obviously I've got to celebrate silently. I was just like, come on. So hey, yeah, there you go. This how it goes.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat now.
Yeah, it was the chat mad.
I won't out people. Yeah, I won't do that.
No,
I
out
won't
them.
People, but
them.
you know who you guys are. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably say to you now. They'll probably still say to you they stand by whatever they said there.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do that. It would be flex. You understand? You're the flip flop. How dare you? How dare you? Yeah. How dare you? How dare you?
Do you think you see responding in rage? Yeah. Just quickly before we wrap, what do we like? Do we have an acceptance in the community that, because clearly Owen's, pulling up the receipts there, and I don't think any of us are above it in the moment, seeing goals go in, instant reactions versus
and
the
Flex,
next
I'll be honest.
day.
Because I don't know if you even saw the reaction when we scored the equaliser. I went fucking mental. I was going, see, you fucking pricks! stop flipping after every. You know what I mean? Let's just wait till the match finishes. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? I was doing that because it was ridiculous. Because it was crazy.
Oh, so you did it.
Amazing.
So the thing you say not to do, which is "I told you so" or "I got you."
Yeah,
because
I was getting accused of being toxically positive. I was like, oh, that's good. And last week I was toxically negative. But we didn't even let the game end. That was kind of my point. We didn't even let the game end. We didn't even bother to sort of digest it. We just sort of threw our hands up and was like, And also, it was one of those ones where it's like, you go, well, actually, in this batch of games, 3 wins, 1 draw. Even if we had lost that, it would still be a good run of games. You know what I mean? It's still all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to say don't be angry about it, but it was just kind of like, it is not the end of the world. Like it was, and we got back in the game. And even then, when we got back in the game, it was like, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. Got a point.
Fairs. Okay. That's true. That's true.
And more to come this season.
Way more to come. Next game, we'll see.
Yeah.
And I don't care about Judge and all of them things there. Don't get me wrong, but I'll say it until it. It doesn't mean you can't lose at home, but it is starting to feel a little bit more stable going into these home games. Like every game last year going into these home games, we were just like, or any game, just like, oh, I don't fancy it today. Oh, they're gonna have a field day. I don't feel like Everton are going to come and have a field day and we just, what the hell were we doing? Doesn't mean you can't draw. No, I don't care about the Judge. I just say how I feel. I don't care. Like, we can lose games. We can draw at home. We can lose.
I don't care about the Judge. I care about Voodoo.
Well, Voodoo, Judge, Duppies, they're all the same. I'm just saying.
Flex Voodoo.
But they are, Fludu, yeah. But they are no mugs though, Everton. I mean, it will be a difficult game. So, Ndai as well. Who's going to be down our left-hand side? Is it going to be Dorgu, who played really well against Scotland, actually? Played quite well, scored. Is it going to be him? Or is it going to be Dallo? Cunha on that side as well, because Ndai is going to be on it. Who's left centre midfield? Bruno as well. You're going to get over there and help. So Ndai plays on their right, our left, and obviously Grealish on the other side. Jimmy Garner. Listen, mate, we got to be ready. We'll be ready.
And it is funny. Absence does make the heart grow fonder, isn't it? Because international break's been a couple of weeks. Well, all right, ready to see my team again. And then once the game just kick off, and like you say, you do see sort of Dallo and misplacing some passes or whatever. Then you will sort of go, oh yeah. It's got to be, those 90 minutes. We go through it, don't we? We go. We can all agree on this, yeah. For those 90 minutes or 100 minutes now, I suppose. We go through it properly. We
be careful, Z. Didn't we beat them 4-0 last year, and we were worse? We mash up Everton every time they come to Old Trafford. I'm not Owen. See, that's a bit strong. I'm not doing all that. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. I'm just saying.
No, we should win. I got expectation of winning that one.
Keep the run going.
But I think in keeping with some of our games recently, I think there probably will be a bit of drama, bit of like it's going to be tight. I'm not sure if I necessarily see. Because against Brighton, we were 3-0 up and it was still tight. I don't know how that's a thing, but it's still.
We just done two stupid things. It just didn't need to be that. So but the 4-2 made it better.
We make it tight for ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. All right, people, big up yourselves, man. Have a great day. Go smash the rest of the week. It's hump day. You know what I'm saying? You get over the hump and look towards the weekend. I was going to say the weekend where we're playing, but you have to wait for the whole weekend to go and get to Monday, actually, to the new week for us to play a game, which is a bit annoying, but is what it is. Means actually on DR on the Mondays, less pressure on me, actually, because I wouldn't have played yet. So
just talk a lot of shit.
Just, and then they won't get me till Thursday. They would have all played Champions League, a bit forgotten about by then. Yeah.
Well, nothing to forget. What, forget a win?
Forget a win.
Forget a win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
We're out of here, guys. Take care. Peace.